Warner Brothers has dropped the second trailer for Superman, and like the first, there's a whole lot to take in. Here are some of the sly references we caught in case you didn't. The trailer kicks off with a scene that will be very familiar to fans of Superman movies, Lois Lane interviewing Superman. That also happened back in Superman the movie in 1978.
Do you have a girlfriend?
No, I don't, but if I did, Miss Lane, you'd be the first to know about it.
The interview in the 2025 version is distinctly different in some key ways. Lois is considerably less nervous this time because she knows Superman a lot better. Clark too. In fact, she interviews Clark as Superman because she knows they're the same guy.
Ready?
Let's do it, Cronkite.
Superman.
Miss Lane.
Lois has actually learned Clark is Superman multiple times in the comics, with many of those stories being retconned away. It really stuck with Clark revealing his identity in 1991's Action Comics issue 662. He and Lois are already engaged by that point, though their relationship doesn't seem to be that far along just yet here. In other versions of the story, Lois figures out Clark is Superman herself. She's a great reporter after all.
You are Superman.
Oh, Lois, come on, don't be...
Mr. Terrific, Hawkgirl, and Green Lantern Guy Gardner all showed up briefly in the initial teaser for Superman, but a shot in the new trailer shows them all together, ready for action. This certainly implies, along with the logo they all wear, that they are a team, or become a team over the course of the film. Both Hawkgirl and Mr. Terrific are most closely associated with the Justice Society of America, or JSA in the comics. Guy Gardner, not so much. The team he played the biggest role in outside the Green Lantern Corps was Justice League International. Based on some clues we'll get into later, it does seem like this is the JLI. But it's definitely interesting that two of the members here are more associated with the JSA. The move comes right on the heels of the DCEU attempt to create a movie version of the Justice Society. In 2022, Black Adam featured JSA stalwarts Dr. Fate, Hawkman, Atom Smasher, and Cyclone as the team. Interestingly, Superman was originally a member of the JSA back in the Golden Age, but that membership was retconned out of continuity in the 1980s. The team is called Justice League International for a reason. Their influence doesn't stop at the border. In the new trailer, multiple heroes are shown using their powers to save lives worldwide, much to the chagrin of a certain supervillain. Superman is obviously in hot water after intervening in a war without government approval, but he's not the only hero going international. In an extremely brief shot, Guy Gardner uses his Green Lantern ring to smack a military vehicle off the ground in the same desert location. This is seemingly the fictional Middle Eastern country of Biolia, which is in the midst of a dramatic conflict until Superman arrives. But Biolia isn't the only country visited by a superhero. In another easily missable moment, Hawkgirl smashes through a window as she fights an adversary somewhere with Russian-style architecture. Boravia is the name of a European country in the DC universe, and considering that one of Superman's new foes is apparently called the Hammer of Boravia, it seems a likely candidate. It also seems like their government wasn't exactly pleased with her presence. Unsupervised superhumans in global affairs are sure to anger the president, but who even is the president anyway? It's not said outright, but the new trailer heavily implies that megalomaniacal tech mogul Lex Luthor is the commander-in-chief.
Did you consult with the president?
Luthor has been one of Superman's greatest foes since the beginning, and his thirst for power has led him to America's highest office before. He was first elected in the one-shot comic Superman Lex 2000, where he became the 43rd president of the United States by a decisive margin. He wasn't terrible at the job, but old habits die hard, and he disappeared after trying to kill Superman once again.
Even this wasn't enough for you, was it? You had to have it all. Now we're on the brink of a war that could destroy the whole planet.
Luthor has become president in a handful of different continuities, from comics to television shows. It's now an established aspect of his character that seems to be crossing into the DCU as well. Back in November 2023, Deadline announced that Venezuelan actress Maria Gabriela de Faria will be playing the role of Angela Spiker, the Engineer. In the trailer, her character definitely does have some of the Engineer's nanotechnology powers, at one point turning her hands into buzzsaw-like weapons. But otherwise, her character only barely resembles the hero fans would remember from her debut in The Authority back in 1999. For one, the comic's depiction of the Engineer is entirely covered in metal. This version is more carbon fiber. The movie version is also considerably more villainous than the Engineer, working alongside Lex Luthor. While the Authority had some questionable methods, they were definitely on the heroic side of things, generally. Ferraria's character seems to have a lot more in common with Luthor's right-hand bodyguard, Mercy Graves, who debuted in Superman the Animated Series.
You do have everything in place.
Of course, Lex. You don't think I'd let you go out there half-cocked?
It's definitely possible that this is a combination of the two characters, and a face turn is potentially in the plans. There are some very brief shots of a black-suited character who can go toe-to-toe with Superman in a fight in the teaser, but we get a much better look at him in this trailer. He's seen leading Supes away in handcuffs, under arrest for his apparent transgressions. The character's black costume includes a full face mask, and he prominently has the letter U on his chest. The letter, plus strength that matches Superman's, has led fans to start calling this ominous figure Ultraman. For those that don't know, in the comics, Ultraman is an evil version of Superman, the leader of the Crime Syndicate, or Crime Society of America. The Crime Syndicate is usually depicted as coming from another universe, often Earth 3, but occasionally a different antimatter universe. So, is this version of Ultraman, if that's who he is, an evil Superman under that mask? We'll just have to see what James Gunn has waiting for us. One very brief shot in the trailer and also in the teaser shows Superman punching his way out of a cubic glass case. The new trailer also shows him taking a beating from guards in there alongside Metamorpho and a woman in a pink dress. There are a lot of things this could be. After his arrest, possibly being captured by Luthor after he apparently invades the Fortress of Solitude, but specifically being a glass enclosure invokes a story where Superman is abducted and put on display as a sort of zoo exhibit. In a two-part episode of Superman the Animated Series called The Main Man, an alien named the Preserver hires Lobo to bring Superman to him so they can both be kept in captivity as a respective last of their kinds, Xarnian and Kryptonian. They defeat him, of course, and Superman provides habitats for all the Preserver's captured creatures in the Fortress of Solitude. Does this glass cage have anything to do with any of that? Who can say, but it may at least be a sly reference. If you pay special attention to the costumes in the new trailer, as well as Lois's recording device during the interview, you'll notice a familiar design, the Lordtech logo. Yep, Guy Gardner, Hawkgirl, and Mr. Terrific all sport Maxwell Lord's logo on their chests. And fans have been quick to suggest that the billionaire might just be sponsoring Justice League International. One fan on Reddit even went as far to wonder if this might be director James Gunn's way of throwing some shade at the fact that superhero teams have been homogenized in this universe, after pointing out that the director obviously has a deep respect for the costumes found in the original comics. The poster noted how the contrast between Superman's bright outfit and the other less colorful ones worn by the JLI crew can't possibly be an accident. Regardless of Gunn's intentions, we're all curious just how much of a role Maxwell Lord will play in the events of the film. All we know for sure is that he's played by Sean Gunn, James's brother, and that Sean himself told The Wrap that his take on the billionaire isn't based on any of the other life portrayals we've seen in recent years.
I like to party.
Oh my god, you're such a good dancer.
As we mentioned earlier, Superman looks to be fighting a new foe called the Hammer of Baravia, a heavily armored baddie who seems, pretty formidable. Dude could even shoot lasers from his eyes like the last son of Krypton. While we're definitely wondering about what his whole deal is, we also can't help but notice a very particular detail on his armor. Where have we seen something similar to that Starburst logo before? Ah, that's right! Nuclear Man in Superman 4, The Quest for Peace.
Welcome home, Nuclear Man. Your father's happy to see you.
Remember how Lex Luthor steals some of Superman's hair and uses it to make a genetic matrix? After attaching it to a nuclear bomb, which Superman promptly throws out into space, it explodes, and the villain is born. Being that this essentially makes him a clone of Superman, and that the Hammer of Baravia can shoot lasers from his eyes, there really does seem to be a connection there. Though it may just be a gun-style wink at a movie everyone hates. Who are the Mighty Crabjoys? Nobody knows. They've never been mentioned in DC Comics, but they're making their third appearance in Gunn's movie and TV DCU. The band was first spotted on a t-shirt worn by Eric Frankenstein in the Creature Commandos animated series, which was also written by James Gunn. You'll find it again in Peacemaker Season 2, or at least the trailer, which is another Gunn pet project. Aside from seeing a poster for the band in Clark Kent's room in the newest trailer, that's all we know. But if the Mighty Crabjoys are attracting fans from the Man of Steel to monsters, they must be pretty good. Seen a few times while Superman is fighting various monsters and villains around Metropolis are giant billboards for Big Belly Burger and their obese mascot. The fast food chain has been around since 1988, making their first appearance in The Adventures of Superman, issue 441, as a parody of Bob's Big Boy. And because it was the 80s, America's growing obsession with consuming greasy meat. In the comics, they're owned by LexCorp, because eventually everything is owned by LexCorp. The chain isn't just a one-off gag either. At one point, Superman had to fight a big belly mascot that was brought to life by Mr. Mixie's Pitlick. Starman, Skyrocket, and Booster Gold have both worked the counter, and the latter starred in their commercials. Shazam is a noted fan of the franchise as well. The restaurant has also appeared in the Arrowverse line of TV shows.
I don't suppose you have a Big Belly Burger in this universe, do you?
And it's not even the first time Big Belly has appeared on the big screen. It also showed up in Blue Beetle. The brief clip of the character who appears to be the engineer hurling nanotech blades at Superman on the baseball diamond features what appears to be a blink-and-you'll-miss-it Easter egg from the film's lead graphic designer, A.D. Cero. The sign for local team the Metropolis Meteors is prominent in the shot. They played against the literal devil, by the way, and won, back in Strange Sports Stories issue 1 in 1973. As is an advertisement for Metropolis Waste Management. But you probably missed this, a sign that simply says Cero, likely added as a signature of sorts from the designer. Production designer David Wasco pulled off a similar signature trick in Wes Anderson's first feature, Bottle Rocket, putting Owen Wilson's character in a Wasco State Penitentiary jumpsuit. The Daily Planet office seems to be full of Superman fans, with pictures of the Man of Steel on various desks and action figures wedged on top of bulletin boards. In a faster-than-a-speeding bullet moment, action figure collectors might spot a familiar sight tacked to the bulletin board in the background while Clark Kent goofs around in the newspaper's HQ. There you'll see a trading card featuring Superman, while the original art is drawn by Jim Lee and features as the cover of Superman issue 204. As well as the collected Superman for Tomorrow graphic novel. That specific trading card originally came packed with the McFarlane Toys Superman for Tomorrow statue. That's a company that's been handling most of DC Comics action figures since 2020, including, unsurprisingly, the line of collectible action figures based on James Gunn's Superman.